Master Painter?
That depends, sir.
On what?
On whether I be or not, sir.
Don't be a fool, man. We want to talk to you, and it's to your advantage.
Mr. Pierce agreed to stand my surety.
Surety?
The guarantee of my good behavior. As long as I don't run away, the money he's advanced will be given back to him.
You have to go back there?
Not until my trial.
Oh, Ross. Oh.
Tell me how you've been.
Lonely. I'm frightened.
You were on the beach that night, Master Painter.
What night was that, Peter?
The night there was a vessel wrecked in a cove thereabouts.
I remember. 2 years back. But that were 3 miles down the coast.
Try remembering only 2 weeks back, Master Painter. The Queen Charlotte, driven ashore in Nampara Cove.
Ah, that wreck, sir. Now you gentlemen do remind me. And remember, I was, as you might say, round about, sir. Yes.
Master Painter, Mr. Tankadere is an attorney of the crown. And we have a weight of evidence against a certain Captain Poldark concerning his activities that night. And it's Mr. Tankard's job to get any more that he can. For which, as you might put it, trouble, the Office of the Crown is willing to pay the expenses of your statement.
Oh, that's rather kind of the Crown, God bless him. And how much is the Crown, God bless him, willing to pay?
That depends on how much you're willing to say, Master Painter.
I'd be willing to say anything you like, sir, provided the price be right.
10 guineas.
For what?
To give evidence against Captain Poldark.
10 now, 10 after.
Which be my reckoning makes 20.
20 tis.
You gentlemen put me in a mortal difficult position. Would he by chance be Bible-read man, sir?
Bible read? Are you saying you have a conscience, Master Painter?
I say he was always taught to believe in the Holy Scripture, sir. And as far as silver be concerned, 30 be the going price. God help us all.
15 now, 15 after.
Consider man of God, sir.
Pay him.
Ross, you can't just sit here and do nothing.
I'm enjoying the first civilized meal I've had in over a week.
No, I didn't mean that, so don't make fun of me.
What would you have me do?
Well, try to help yourself.
Demelza, I'm not guilty. I'll have a fair trial and I'll state my case.
Fair?
But gathering evidence and witnesses is Pierce's job.
Well, someone else is obeying evidence against you.
What?
Just what I've heard.
Buying? Nonsense. Who told you?
Ginny. She said...
Well, tell me.
3 men, she said, in the village. Asking who'd been on the beach that night. Asking questions about you. Offering folk money.
To do what?
To say you'd help steal the cargo from the ship and start the fight with the soldiers.
Did you know who these men were?
But 'tis a fact, Ross. Someone be out spending money to buy witnesses against you.
In God's name, who? Who can hate me so much?
3 so far, sir. 2 for 10 and 1 for 15.
15?
15 now, 15 after.
You're spending my money like water, Mr. Tankard.
I'd almost forgotten what pleasure there is in kissing you.
We've had enough reason to not.
Not since Julia died.
It will do no good dwelling on the past, Ross. It is what happens now and in the future we must think of.
Yes. Perhaps it's as well she died. No child would want a gallows bird for a father.
Ross. I don't understand you.
What don't you understand?
You got friends. Why don't you get them to speak for you?
It's not my job to do so.
Your job, Mr. Pierce's job. What does it matter whose job it is when they hang you?
The Melzer.
Well, that's what will happen.
No. It'll be a fair trial.
With bought witnesses to damn you. Ross, don't you see? Money is buying the verdict.
And what do you suggest? That I should buy witnesses to speak in my defense?
No.
Demelza, I'm innocent.
Ross, you be as stubborn as a mule. If you don't do something, then I will.
No. I'll have no repetition of that. I've forgotten the way you asked Bedragon for money.
We've got to do something, Ross. I love you, don't you understand? I want to help, that's all, because I love you so much.
I love you. God knows I'm luckier than I deserve. I couldn't bear to be long parted from you now. But the law will not be interfered with. It has its own way of going about things, for good or bad, which we must accept.
I don't understand.
It's the nature of our rules of justice. Any interference is as like to harm my case as help. So let's have no more talk of it, eh?
Very good.
Father? I must have mistook the time. Dinner already? I thought it but 11.
Where have you been?
Oh, here and there.
Do you have a case against him?
We have 3 or 4 good witnesses.
You swear against him.
And if they don't, they won't be paid. One's a discharged servant. Nursing his grudge as you nurse your guineas.
Now, speaking of that, how much?
Only a guinea or 2, Father.
I want to see Poldark hanged, but I don't want to be bankrupted by it.
You have great faith in hope, Father. Put more faith in cash, and you won't be disappointed.
No, then.
Thank you kindly. Sir John Trevor.
Your servant, Mum? I don't believe I've had the pleasure.
You know my husband. You were in business together, Ross Poldark.
Ah, yes. I'm very pleased to meet you, Mum.
I was wondering if I might have a word with you. They told me I'd find you here at the house.
My honor, Mum, if you'll wait a while. I have a sick cow, as you can see.
Oh, 'twill take but a minute.
Me mind's on me cow, Mum. She's a valuable beast, and you not have the attention you deserve.
'Tis about my husband I want to speak. He needs your help, Sir John.
Well, I'm flattered, ma'am, but me cow needs me more. Now, why don't you wait at the house, and I'll attend you when I can.
What's wrong with the cow?
Huh?
What's wrong with her?
The hindquarters are paralyzed.
It might be whiptail.
Your pardon, ma'am?
It's often called tail sharp.
Well, I confess, I never heard of it.
I saw a cure for it once.
Did you now? How?
Well, you split open the tail where the joint slipped, and you get a well-salted onion and put it in. You bind up the tail hard with coarse tape. You leave the tape on for a week and feed her nothing excepting a cordial made of equal parts of rosemary, juniper, and cardamom seed.
That's an unlikely sounding remedy, ma'am, you'll agree?
Well, it worked very well the last time I saw it. Now, can we talk, Sir John?
Can you remember all that, Lassen? And tried man. You can't make her worse than she is now. Your servant. Will you take a glass of canary, ma'am?
I'd rather have port, thank you.
As you wish.
My husband was proud of his association with you, Sir John. He was that unhappy when it ended.
Nobody's fault, ma'am. I had, still have, a high regard for your husband. But it happens in business. Circumstances prove too much.
You must have lost a deal of money.
Well, I lost some, as did your husband. Of course, we're reforming the company. We have the Wallegans behind us now. It makes a difference. I'm only sorry your husband isn't able to take part.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sure he'd like to, if it weren't for other things.
Yes. You want me to speak at his trial, hmm? Well, of course I would if I was called, but you must understand, I could only be a witness to his character. See, I wasn't on the beach that night. How do I know what went on?
Sir John, someone be baying witnesses against him. Now, you be a magistrate. Be that fair or proper?
No, certainly not.
If Ross has no one to speak for him, he doesn't stand it.
Ma'am, it makes no difference. I've no doubt as to your husband's innocence.
But
Well, the only thing he can do is to put himself in the hands of the court. Now, I know the judge, Mr. Wentworth Lister, and he's a fair and honest man. You can do no better than leave the matter to him.
But if you know the judge, why don't you speak to him? Tell him the witnesses be false and laying.
Well, because he wouldn't listen. He's an honest judge. He wouldn't listen to me or anyone. Now, I beg you, ma'am, leave it at that. You can do no more, much as I'm sure you'd wish to.
I'd hope Ross's friends would stand by him more.
Well, it's not a question of that. It's a question of what the law allows, ma'am.
Well, what I don't understand is how one side can buy witness whilst the other isn't even allowed to defend himself. Oh, good day, Sir John.
I'll show you the way.
Whoever it is must have money and hate Ross. What do you think that might be, Sir John?
I have no idea.
I have. Mayhap the Wallegans weren't content to take Carnmore away from Ross. Mayhap they want to see him hang as well.
No.
I'll find my own way out. Thank you, Sir John.
I'll send word if the cow improves. A safe journey, ma'am. My regards to your husband.
Hello, brother.
Unwin.
Who was that?
Ross Poldark's wife. Pretty young thing.
Pretty enough to be dangerous.
No, not at my age. What are you doing here? The elections are until next week.
Caroline is travelling down from Bath tomorrow. I know what a gadfly she is if she hasn't got someone to keep an eye on her.
Well, you should marry her.
I would, if only the wench would say yes. But you know what these 18-year-olds are like?
Well, I used to when I was younger. She's upset me, you know.
Who, Caroline?
No. Poldark's wife. Damned unsettling little thing.
Good day, Mr. Wallegan.
Mistress Poldark. Enchanted, ma'am.
I I see you be going riding.
Oh, a present for my godson. What brings you to Truro? Shopping?
Yes, to buy widow's weeds for when Ross be hanged.
I sincerely hope not, ma'am.
Oh, do you, Mr. O'Legan? Truth is, I've come to Truro to ask you what it is you be doing to my husband.
Then why didn't you come into the bank instead of lurking in the street like a beggar?
I thought everybody be beggars when dealing with you.
I'm doing nothing against your husband, ma'am. It defeats me. What makes you think I am?
Because you're the only man I know with reason enough and money enough to buy the lies that somebody be buying.
What lies?
As if you didn't know. Well, it won't work, I tell you. It won't work.
Pray keep your voice down.
I won't. And I'll tell everyone, the judge and everyone, what you be doing.
What do you think about our women tonight?
May I join you?
It's a public place.
You seem low in spirit.
Had a long meeting with my legal and financial advisors.
With what result?
Generosity of spirit. Attempt to solve the problems, a certain doubt as to whether they can be solved.
If I can help.
I think not. Thank you.
I do have a little money put by if things go badly in the court, and I...
look after that this morning.
Well, I would be willing to use what little I have to help de Melzer. Ross, I'm sorry about my earlier behavior, especially to her.
It bears you no grudge.
Do you?
I see no reason to thank you or curse you, Francis. Truth be told, I've not the energy or time to do either.
I had hoped that my apology might have...
Apologize to de Melzer.
Yes, of course I will. She's a generous woman. She helped me when I was sorely ill. The result being far from happy for you.
I'd have put it more strongly than that.
I'm sorry.
So are we all.
But at least allow me to wish you well for the trial.
What happens there depends on God and a good lawyer. But I thank you.
No bloomers or anything, eh?
Did none of you men see what happened?
My men were about their business, ma'am. They were trying to prevent a riot.
How is it that one can buy lying witnesses and search everywhere and not find an honest one?
I would help you if I could, ma'am. But I would do a lot to help you.
Would you?
Indeed.
My husband was not on the beach when you were hit, Captain.
I cannot say either one way or another, ma'am. All I can say is the truth.
That Ross was not on the beach when it happened.
Well, that I do not know.
Well, if you don't know, can I not persuade you just to say he wasn't? And for me, you said you'd like to help.
I could, but I would be under oath.
Well, it'd be the truth. And I'd be very grateful for someone to tell the truth.
Well, I will do whatever my duty and my conscience permit, ma'am. You can be sure of that.
I'll be relying on you, Captain.
And I hope the next time we meet, it may be under more pleasurable circumstances.
I hope so. But if my husband is not acquitted, there'll be precious little pleasure for any of us.
There you are. And when you've learned to ride it, I'll give you a real one.
Can I ride it now?
You must break it in first. I should take it into the garden.
You've been very kind to us, George.
It is nothing. A little toy for the child.
No, I didn't mean that. Without your help, I don't know how we'd manage.
It grieves me to see you in any distress, Elizabeth.
Where did you get that?
Uncle George bought it for me.
Is Uncle George still here?
Yes.
Hello, Francis.
George, you're becoming almost a permanent guest. Can I get you a drink?
I have one, thank you.
Have you seen this thing?
What is it?
A filthy, scurrilous broadsheet about Ross. They're all over Truro. Have you seen them, George?
Yes, my groom had one. I destroyed it.
Yes. There are hundreds of them. By next week, they'll be all over Bodmin.
What does it say?
The true and sensational facts in the life of Captain P. blank D. blank K., bold adventurer, seducer, suspected murderer, soon to stand trial at Bodmin Assizes, written by an intimate friend.
Yes, but what does it say?
Slanderous accusations that Ross only went to serve in the American war to avoid being taken to court on various ludicrous charges. That the countryside is littered with his illegitimate children. That he is a rogue, a murderer, a wrecker.
But this is absolutely untrue. There's not
Well,
one
of course
word...
it's untrue.
These things often come out when there's a big case coming on. I shouldn't take too much notice. Someone wants to make a little profit.
My dear George, these are being given away. Not sold, given. And that's costing somebody a great deal of money.
But this could influence the jury. It could hang...
Ah, what the devil do you think it's for?
If I were you, I'd burn it.
Uncle George, will you come and watch me ride Bucephalus?
Yes, of course I will. I must go. So, you've given him a name, have you?
Intimate friend, who would do that?
Well, who around here has the money to pay for that much paper? And then to say, burn it.
What's that?
Copy of the statement I made for my counsel.
Why don't you want me to come to Bodmin with you?
No man would want his wife to watch him being carried off to prison.
I meant the trial.
Might upset you.
Do you think I'd be any less upset sitting here waiting for the verdict?
Might upset me to have you there.
You're going to be reading that all night?
To discuss it with him tomorrow on the way to Bodmin.
Ross.
What is it? Demosa?
Read your document.
What is it?
Nothing.
What?
Don't you realise?
Realise what?
If you're found guilty, this will be the last night we ever sleep together.
No, leave yours alight. Let me do that.
Ow! Take the damn thing out of the ruts! Oh, damn it, now I ain't travelled.
Well, I think we can dispense with that to start with.
What?
I said that document would be of more assistance to the prosecution than the defense, and since I'm here to defend...
I simply put down the facts.
What you simply put down, as you call it, is a muddled version of events in which you could not possibly have known the ins and outs of all.
Ross, my boy, you'd be well advised to be guided by Mr. Clymer. He is, after all...
Mr. Clymer is engaged to put my case as I knew it to happen.
No, sir. I am engaged to assist you in defense. It's not for a client to issue instructions, but to be guided by the advice of his legal advisors. What the devil's the good of engaging them?
Mr. Clymer, Ross, we must not let our tempers outrun our haste, my boy.
Look at this. To say he attempted to oversee the events of the night, and then to admit he took no action to prevent the cargo from being looted, is tantamount to an admission to collusive guilt.
No! If you can't keep the damn thing out of the ruts, take it across the fields!
The people of the village were near to starving. It was quite
A
natural they'd
romantic
take
excuse about an illegal act. Henry Bull, the prosecuting counsel, he'd take this statement, mince it into a pork pie, and have us both for breakfast before the case had opened. Captain Poldark, I have my reputation.
And so have I.
No!
I shall stand by what I said in my statement.
Then heaven help us.
I hear they've taken Poldark into Bodmin jail.
Yesterday.
Let's hope they keep him there.
Well, if they do, Father, it'll be at public expense. Cheaper than he were hanged.
Or transported. They're Australia feeding.
There's a reception tonight for the elections at Bodmin Guildhall. Are you going?
Well, tiring rubbish.
The food's free, Father.
The company's expensive. Someone will want a favour of doing.
Excuse me, gentlemen. I was asked to give you this message, Mr. Morgan.
Thank you, sir. I'll see you again in a more private place.
Of course, sir.
Drop more, please, my dear.
Keep your mind on business, Father.
What's this?
A list of our witnesses bought and paid for.
Each? How much did they cost?
You can't have people hanged for nothing, Father.
The streets are full of drunks and rogues here for the election. Took me half an hour to get through them.
I need to apologize, Mr. Clymer. I wasn't going anywhere. 3 drunks in my cell already. That's why they put us in here.
Now, we have a deal of work to do before the session tomorrow, Captain Poldark, and I have to attend some formal reception at the Guildhall later to meet the parliamentary candidates, God knows why.
I don't envy you. I shall probably have a more amusing time in this place.
You may be right. Now, have you made for me any new and more reasonable notes,
Come in.
Oh, excuse me, ma'am. The hotel being so very crowded on account of the elections, I wondered if you might be prepared to share a room with another lady.
I care not for the election, sir, but much for my privacy. I'm sorry. I couldn't Verity!
Demelza!
Oh, but how? Oh, it's wonderful to see you.
And you. You don't mind if I share your room?
Of course not. I'm only too glad to see you. But what are you doing here?
Oh, the same as you, I should think. For Ross.
No. 'Tis kind of you.
I'm sure things will turn out right, Demelza. I'm sure of it.
I hope so.
What a beautiful dress.
We have so much to talk of. We'll talk when I get back.
Where are you going?
To a reception at the Guildhall.
Are you being escorted?
No, but I'll be all right.
Oh, you can't go out alone. The streets are packed, all kinds of people.
I have to. There's something I've got to do for us.
Well, let me come with you.
No. Besides, you haven't brought a dress for it. And if you come to the door, they'll only turn you away, then you'll have to walk back all alone. Don't fret, I'll be all right. We'll talk when I get back.
Demelza.
The Honourable Mr. Justice Lister.
Mr. Lister.
Mr. Tavonus. Sir John.
Justice Lister. May I introduce my intended, Miss Caroline Pendervillen?
Ma'am, yourself.
Mr. Lester.
Your pardon me.
Yes, indeed.
I do wish you wouldn't keep introducing me as your intended. It may be your intention. It isn't necessarily mine.
Mr. Francis Poldark.
Francis, how you all look forward to the excitement of this evening?
Has Francis Poldark been drinking again?
Mr.
Tell him to drink this bottled horse droppings. It'll make him ill.
Sir George Warlager. The Honourable Mr. James Rawson.
Hello, George.
Francis?
Are you here for the elections or to see Ross hanged, drawn, and quartered?
For the elections, as everyone else.
Ah, have you got money invested in the elections as well? My dear George, you've got your dirty little fingers in every pie, haven't you?
Francis,
You know, I doubt if there's a profitable pie in the whole of Cornwall that you Warlegan blackbirds aren't comfortably baked up.
Francis, I don't think this is the place to have a
George,
discussion.
please, don't tell me where or when I should or should not do things.
I don't want an argument with you, Francis, particularly here. You're a little drunk, and I
Or
don't...
whether I am or am not drunk. I come from a family of gentlemen, George, a condition that you and your father could not understand. Do you know, I found out tonight who paid for these broadsheets. How? Because I went to the printer and I paid him 4 guineas.
You said burn them. I absolutely agree.
Go on, George, have them back. And if you need something to put the fire out...
What was that?
I don't know. It was some private quarrel.
Mistress Ross Poldark.
Now, what the devil's she doing here?
No, Captain Poldark.
The devil's wrong with it now?
Captain Poldark, let me try and explain a court of law to you. It's not a pitched battle, it's a field of maneuver. You're expected to tell the truth.
Have told the truth.
But it depends on how you tell it. To antagonize the court by making statements of personal opinion with no evidence to back them up, and then to refuse to, how can I put it?
Lie?
No, I don't mean lie. I'm sure that everything you've written down here is the truth as you think you see it. But we have to make a case. The truth, Captain Poldark, is not necessarily how you think you saw it, if indeed you saw it at all. Witnesses are notoriously...
I have simply written
opinions,
down...
feelings, attitudes. Captain Poldark, they have a string of sworn witnesses as long as your arm. We have 3. I've heard rumors that someone is after your blood.
That's possible.
Then why the devil won't you sit down with me to make out a case to beat him? You're a proud man, Captain Poldark, but pride goeth before a fall. I am trying to avoid a fall, Captain. Yours and your family's.
What do you want me to do?
I want you to go through the events of that night with me, minute by minute.
John.
Mistress Poldark, delightful to see you again. May I introduce my brother and Miss Caroline Penven?
Good evening, Mistress Poldark. Sit down.
You've kept your eyes on your house instead of on women, Huey. You could have been master of the hunt by now.
I was master of the hunt 3 years ago, Connie.
It is Dragonas. The crowd is shouting for us. The returning officer says if we don't go now, they'll break the law down.
No way, I'm talking. As I was saying, brother, the most important question is the
I think you'd better go, Unwin.
You should take your brother's advice, Unwin. After all, it's his money that's buying your votes. You haven't any, apart from what you hope to get if you marry me. Come along, Horace. Let's go and watch Unwin wade the pocket. I was glad to hear your cow got better, Sir John.
Thanks to you, Ma'am. I didn't expect to see you here tonight.
I was told Mr. Justice Lister would be here. Will you introduce me to him?
No, ma'am, not under any circumstances. I know what you're trying to do, and I admire you for it, but really...
I heard it'll cost your brother £2,000 to keep your seat in Parliament. Now, if you can buy votes, why can't I tell the truth to one of His Majesty's judges?
Ma'am, it's not the same. Look, I don't believe in the buying of votes, but it's allowed to happen. Now, as I've already told you, Mr. Lister is an honest man. Anything you and I said to try to influence him, he would disregard, and I would lose a friend.
But how can he know the facts when he's come all the way from London? All I want to do is
All you want to do, Mom, is illegal, while the case is sub judice.
I don't know what that means.
Well, it means that if you try to do what you want to do, not only will your husband certainly go to jail, but so will you.
Wave, Caroline. Smile and wave.
You know all these people, Unwin. They look like a field of turnips.
Absurd, Caroline. They're the voters.
You don't know them. Why are you waving to them?
Stop being ridiculous, Caroline. And wave.
Come on, Horace. Wave to the turnips. You might get into Parliament.
Mistress Poldark bound at the dance.
Oh, thank you, Stu.
The floor's a trifle packed. Can I press you to a glass of port?
Thank you. Do you know Mr. Justice Lister, Sir Hugh?
Yes, I do. Why?
Would you introduce me to him?
Now?
I'd be so grateful.
If there's anyone on that list of witnesses we might shake, let me know in the morning.
I'll look through it.
Remember, you're in a tight corner, Captain. If you want to hang, well, that's your affair. But I recall seeing a man strung up a Tython once. They cut him down for dead, but he grimaced and twitched for quite 5 minutes after.
I saw that happen when a man's head was shot off by a cannonball. It's an even more peculiar sight when the head and body are some paces apart.
Yes?
Yes.
Well, till the morning, Captain. I might say that Henry Bull, the prosecuting counsel, is a very ambitious man. He is after a position that I also want, need. If you will let me save my career, I will also save your neck. Otherwise, sir, we might both go down.
Does your lordship dance?
No, ma'am. I never learned when I was young. Now I'm of an age when the spectacle of others in effort is more entertaining than the effort itself. But please, don't let me deter you.
Oh, you don't deter me. I sometimes think it is better to keep out of the crush. Then we can see what we look like when we're in it.
You argue with a ready wit, ma'am. In my experience, that's a rare thing in women.
Perhaps your lordship has little experience of it.
As little as possible, ma'am. From choice.
I doubt if she'd be good for your health, Hugh, even if you did get out.
He won't.
I'm a damn sight healthier than you think.
One jump in your heart would stop. Get me another glass of this cow's cuddle and stop boasting.
Do you like music, my lord?
I like music.
Ah, but this ain't music, though, is it?
You know about music.
I say, Hugh, the learned judge is unusually conversational.
Of course he is. Girl as pretty as that. Damn me, he's had a long enough.
No harmony, even of the most primitive kind, existed in church music until the 10th or the 11th century. Now, plain song...
Your lordship will excuse me. Time for a bite to eat, my dear. There's a devil of a shindig at the table. If we don't go now, we won't get any.
But I'm not yet hungry, Sir Hugh. His lordship's telling me about church music, and it's very interesting.
Church music? What kind of subject is that for election night?
It's a subject for any night, sir, if you have the disposition to understand it. There are those plainly who have not. Ma'am, I'm saying Gregorian plain song. Now, that is to...
The lordship asked me to let you know the list for tomorrow.
Ah, you must excuse me, ma'am. And thank you for the only interesting conversation I've had since I arrived here. You must forgive me, ma'am, I don't quite recall your name.
Poldark. Mrs. Ross Poldark. But I wanted to speak to your lordship on another matter.
I fear I'm called away. Your servant, ma'am.
Let me tempt you to a little partridge, my pigeon.
Was it you said he'd been taken ill?
It was Miss Caroline Penville, sir. I was told it was very urgent. Through here, sir. Dr. Surgeon Ennis, ma'am.
Madam, I was told you were ill.
I am not ill. It's Horace. He's very ill.
And may I ask where Horace is?
Here.
Your dog.
Yes, he's very distressed. I think the noise and all the people downstairs
Madam, your
were...
footman made a mistake. If you wish your dog to be attended to, I suggest you go to a farrier.
I don't want a horse doctor for Horace. I'll pay in advance.
Madam, I attend patients who cannot pay at all. And I'm damned if I'll waste their time on a dog.
Please. He isn't well, and I'm very fond of him. I'm sorry if you've been called away from something more important. But have you never had a dog of your own?
Yes, when I was a boy.
Would you have let him die on a point of formality?
No.
Then let mine die.
How old is he?
12 months.
And what makes you think he is not well?
He's had 2 fits tonight.
In this place, I'm not surprised.
Is he all right?
I doubt if he's going to die. I had an aunt, had a spaniel, suffered much the same trouble. Never got enough exercise.
What happened to it?
Nothing disastrous. It had fits whenever she played the spinet. And we could never tell whether it was because it was musical or because it wasn't.
That's a nice story.
Have this made up at the druggist. And keep him off sweetmeats. Give him some exercise. Real exercise. I don't mean just jumping in and out of your carriage. And wouldn't do you any harm either, if you want to keep your figure.
You're very impertinent.
Part of my profession, madam, is to be accurate.
Does that mean you think I have a figure worth preserving, Doctor?
Well, I wouldn't throw it away if I were you. Take the dog for a walk occasionally. It'll do you both good.
Aren't you being a little above yourself?
How old are you?
18.
Forgive me, madam. From your behavior, I hadn't realized you had reached such an advanced age. Your servant, ma'am.
I hate men like that, Horace. They frighten me.
Such a to-do, ma'am. Never known a town like it. 'Tisn't safe to venture on the streets, and you got an escort. How far is the Guildhall from here? Oh, I wouldn't go near there, ma'am. Just a bit short step. But I'd hear the place be surrounded by drunken voters and the like. Oh.
I want to see Mrs. Poldark.
Oh, she be not here, sir. She be out.
Then I'll wait for her.
Oh, you can't come in, sir. There'll be another lady.
Francis.
What the hell are you doing here? It's all right, I'm a brother. Go and wipe your snotty nose.
Huh. Gentlemen.
So what are you doing here, dear sister?
I came for Ross's trial. De Mills has gone out.
And is your husband here?
No. He's at sea.
How very fortunate for him. This isn't a reconciliation, dear sister. I'm sharing a room with our doctor friend, Dwight Ennis. He told me I'd find a Melzer here. I came to give him my best wishes. Is there anything to drink?
I believe de Melzer has some port. How are you, Francis?
Drunk. How are you, Mrs. Blamey?
Happily married. What's the matter?
Oh, God knows, dear sister, God knows. I had a hell of a row tonight with George Warlegan.
Then that wasn't very wise of you, Francis.
Oh, I know. I'm a fool. Or I wouldn't be in the position where George could own me. Give me another drink.
Francis!
Give me another drink.
Francis,
Verity, please. No sympathy. It's far too late for sympathy.
following me?
Yes, I was going back to the hotel. I saw you leave alone. That was very foolish of you.
Unwin was becoming unbearably pompous, so I decided to leave.
Unwin?
Yes, he called me his intended.
Ah.
There's no need to concern yourself, Doctor. I'm merely returning to my hotel.
Where are you staying?
At the Rose and Crown.
It's not far from my own. Come, I will escort you. And Horace.
Oh, Demelza, thank goodness you're safe.
I was in more danger dancing with Sir Hubert Dragon at the reception than I ever was in the street. Oh, but you look tired. You shouldn't have waited up for me.
Francis came while you were gone.
Francis?
To see you. He wanted to wish you well.
That was kind of him. Was it awful for you?
No. But he was in such a strange mood.
Perhaps he'd been drinking.
Oh, he had. But it was much more than that. I don't remember ever seeing him like it before. So hopeless.